a very nice hotel. Don't get used to it. Because we're going to France. France hotels, terrible.
Papunta na po kami sa Florence.
Okay guys, okay, so just a little bit of your attention, then you can go back to having fun, okay? I'm the party pooper. So, just a couple of things about what's gonna happen today, okay? So, we are already late, guys, because somebody was late. I'm not pointing fingers. They know. So guys, every minute counts if you're on trip with other people. So make sure, respect the time and each other, okay? Thank you. Also, so yeah, we had a very beautiful hotel, a very nice breakfast also, compared to other places in Italy for sure. I can say this was 5-star. And so, remember this. Remember and keep it in your memory, okay? Because when we get to France, I cannot promise that you will have similar experience, okay? Because French hotels, terrible. They're terrible and terribly expensive. Yes, but don't worry about it, we'll survive. Okay, so today's program, we're driving in the area of Tuscany now, Toscana. Okay, very beautiful region, and we're going to drive 1 hour now. After that, we're going to do walking tour with a local guide. We're just going through the main historical sites. Each place we stop for a couple of photos, and then after that we go to the place Piazza Santa Croce, the square of the Saint Cross, the Holy Cross church. It's a beautiful church as well. And then that's where we're going to do a bit of shopping and free time. Today also we have the lunch together, very nice. Everyone is joining. So as a group we go in and have some good lunch, normally around 11:30. Okay, so we have an early lunch and we're trying to get out around 1 o'clock. Okay, but I will give you the exact timing, meeting point and so on when we need once we get there. Okay, so this is very important. So in Florence also a couple of things, tips that you should be aware of. Okay, so on the street there are street vendors, the normal ones with the stand and everything, where they're legally selling stuff. Okay, you can buy things there like souvenir etc. But there are some guys selling printouts, look like a painting, but it's just a printout. You can do it at yourself at home. So don't spend 10 euros for a piece of paper that then you need to carry the whole day. Okay, it looks nice, but you can also print at home. So there is not real art. If you want to buy real art, you buy at the stands, and also there is artists who are actually outside painting, and you can buy their real painting. Okay, then you can support a good artist. Okay, so that's very important. Also in Florence, you need to watch out for thieves, pickpockets. Also with the beggars, be careful, yeah? Because sometimes they're not even beggars. And also sometimes you have these girls acting like they are working for some kind of charity with a piece of paper in the hand, like this, you know? Like me. Yeah? So, but they are not working for any charity. They're working for their own pocket charity. Okay, so they are just thieves also. So nobody should give anything on the street to the people, and then they should be fine. Don't feed pigeons, and yeah, just avoid these things. Okay, that's numero uno priority. And yeah, so after visiting Florence, having our time there, we're going to leave, and before leaving, we're going to see from above, from a beautiful spot. That's why we're going to take a nice photo together as a group, and also individually you can take. It's a over scenic view of the city from above. Okay, so you get to see the whole thing in one. And then we're going to leave. We drive to Pisa. From Florence to Pisa, normally we drive about 2 hours. Then we reach Pisa. Okay. Second thing here. In Pisa, there is a lot of walking. But I can arrange for you guys no walking. There is a thing I can book for the group, but it has an extra €3 cost per person. Okay, it's the choo-choo train. Choo-choo train. It's round trip. It's pretty cheap. I just suggest doing this because it's really gonna be like 40 degrees outside, and so at least you don't have to walk out in the sun because there is no shade, nothing. It's in the middle of nowhere. So normally you guys will, if everyone wants, then I will book it.
Yes.
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 Yeah, okay, so no walking and it's fast, okay? It's a return, so also coming back to the bus, it's the same thing. And also more safer because on the street, a lot of gypsies trying to pickpocket you. Okay, so we avoid them. So I'm going to book, so we have that ready for us, waiting when we reach Pisa. Okay, very good. So just to make everything easy. All right, so this is gonna be today's program. After finishing up in Pisa, having some gelato, taking our photos and souvenirs, what you like, then we're going to drive to the city of Genova. Genova is one of the most famous cities of old times. Yeah. Genova is actually a port city. They used to be one of the maritime powers in the medieval times, such as Venice and Pisa. They were all very famous shipbuilders. But later on, they became not so important anymore. But anyway, the thing is today is still a city, which is one of the large cities on the coast of the Mediterranean. And actually, the hotel is at the airport. Okay, so they're at the airport, and there is not much around the hotel other than the airport. I believe there is one restaurant there is like a harbor. That's what I know of, but I will double check for you. Also, I can recommend to anyone who is interested in seeing Genova to go inside. You can book a taxi at the hotel. We'll take you inside, and you can find the area with a lot of restaurants inside the city. Okay, so that's one of the options for tonight. Okay, just giving you a heads up for this. Or normally also the hotel have a restaurant. So if you don't want to go out, then you can eat in the restaurant of the hotel, no problem. But I think it's a better price or a better experience inside the city. You guys can also go and share a cab together and get inside, depending on really how tired you are, how you feel like, because that's another city that you can see on your own free time, of course. Okay, so this is the story for today. Okay, so now we focus on Florence. So the city of Florence, also called Firenze by the Italians, Firenze. So Florence, also a very historical city, also founded in the Roman times. Later on, becomes one of the important trading hubs of Italy. Well, back then it wasn't called Italy, but in medieval times, one of the city-states, becoming Italy's #1 place in the time of the medieval era. So the most important time to speak of it is around the 14th and the 15th century. So in this time period starts a new development in the city, and also it was led by the family called the Medicis. Lorenzo Medici, Cosimo Medici were the famous people to mention here. They were the rulers of the city. Okay, so in that time period, the city becomes one of the most prominent Renaissance cities of Europe and becoming the birthplace of the Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. Rebirth of what? Yes, of the classical arts, sciences, and also of the human consciousness. After the Dark Ages, we have the age of new inventions, new ideas springing to life, because you know the church slowed down the progress of thinking, and so they needed to revive that. But it doesn't mean you need to be anti-religious. It was just the church. Okay, so the church never liked the progress because they want everyone stay the same, pay the tax, pay the church, and stay quiet. And so I'm not sure what it was today, but back then it was definitely the thing. Very important in this time period. For example, Galileo Galilei, one of the famous scientists, who is a new way of looking at the world, and he was actually prosecuted by the church for his crazy ideas, and he was a sinner or whatever they called him. They wanted to kill him for his different ideologies that he was presenting about the movement of the earth and the sun and whatnot. So it's very interesting how today we accept everything as, yeah, of course it is like this, you know, we know this. But back then, everything was illegal to think about or say, because the church did not let you use your own brain. Okay, so in this period, it stops with these people, so they kind of loosen up, and so the inventions coming in, and also architecture flourishes, and the arts and sciences in Florence. So Florence's main attractions have something to do with this period, especially the famous Duomo. Okay, so the Duomo, the Cathedral of Florence, is one of the wonders of the world for sure, especially the dome itself, the huge dome that they built, because it looks kind of impossible how they made it. Okay, remember, the Romans actually used concrete in their architecture. Maybe you've seen the Pantheon, right? So I think Ribali explained about that, if you listen. I'm not sure. I didn't have the headpiece, so I'm not sure what he said. But so in the Roman times, they had the technology for concrete. Today we also have the technology for using concrete, which makes building different structures much easier. But in the medieval time period, this knowledge was lost for many centuries. And because there was no internet, no Wikipedia, no blueprints, nothing, no Google. Yeah, so they had no idea. And so the reinvention of the concrete also, but the reinvention or the newly finding of different techniques helps the development of new kind of buildings. So the Duomo, the dome itself of the cathedral was finished by this name called Filippo Brunelleschi. Okay, so Filippo Brunelleschi is the guy who was given the task to complete the impossible. Okay, and he succeeded. People didn't know how he's gonna make it, but you will see. And also probably our local guide will explain some about this. But the main thing is he invented such a way of building and putting the bricks together so the whole thing would hold its weight without any support from underneath. So it would hold the whole structure only because of building in such way and putting the pieces together, so everything supports the weight, and it's still standing today, which is amazing, right? So this is something of value for the people who are interested in architecture. And of course, the use of marble stones, it's amazing. So you'll get to see it. It's fantastic. The colors of the whole church is very different from other old medieval and medieval churches. Okay, so it's not really looking like a Gothic in the colors, because normally Gothic style have the same color limestone, that's all, or some marbles they use. But normally that's the thing. But here you have different colors used. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so we have different color use and makes it really a beautiful sight. Yeah. Okay, so other than that, we're going to see the Ponte Vecchio. Ponte Vecchio is the old bridge of Florence, and which connects the sides of the two sides of the river. Okay, the river Arno. Name of the river Arno.
Picture tayo mamaya. Pangalan ng anak ko. Nickname ni Armandine June the second.
Arno, you have
Arno.
So I'm talking about Arno. Yes.
May
So the
lugar
river
pala siya.
is flowing in between two sides of Florence.
You have said.
One side covered with the hills, and the other side is mostly flat, and that's where the main town center is. It's a very interesting fact about medieval architecture. You did not have like big investors and big companies building stuff like today. You have the builders who build this highway commissioned by the government and so on. Back then, local governments making the project was through donations and mostly through investment from local people, merchants. Because medieval bridges are very different from today's bridges. Today the bridge is only to cross something. Yeah? So you build a crossing over the river, that's all. But back then they used it for a chance to attract business on the bridge. So not on the bridge in the middle, but on the side they actually built in a way that there are small shops on both sides. And so that's where they had built the business. So, you know, the only way to get across is from on the boat or on the feet. But when you go on the feet, you definitely gonna do some shopping. You know, ladies, how it is. If you see the shop on the side, oh, let me see this. And then once you get through the bridge, you already lost all your money. Yeah, so today also there is some craftsmen and jewelers and all that selling stuff. But back then, at one point they had butcher shops there, but it was not really the best spot for butchers, because imagine all the water getting dirty under the bridge because the blood and all the stuff going in. And so because of that, the leaders of Florence decided only craftsmen who are selling handmade stuff can sell things on this bridge. Okay, so that's one of the things that are really interesting about Florence, because this is one of the oldest bridges, which actually is the oldest bridge, because the time of the Second World War, the Germans were here, and when the Allied forces were coming to capture the city of Florence, they blew up all the bridges, the Germans. But one of the German generals, he said, well, he's not a barbarian, so he likes art and he respects art, because it is a very ancient bridges. Normally you blow up so nobody can follow. Yeah, so that's why they say also don't burn all your bridges, because you cannot go back or nobody can follow you. But anyway, so yeah, so that's very important. In the Second World War, a lot of strategical damage were done to many places in Italy. So many things were restored after the war, but that bridge was the only bridge that they left because it was beautiful. Yeah, so that not all the Nazis were animals. Okay, so well, if you look on Hollywood movies, you think, oh, they were the most evilest evil. They're also people. So they were kind of just doing their job, right? Anyway. I'm not condoning what they done, but I'm just saying. Okay, so yeah, so this is an interesting thing about Florence, and yeah, so also you have a lot of art. So the city even today is attracting millions of people each year, and also a lot of foreign students who want to learn in the place of art and where the great ones live and produce their artwork, like Leonardo da Vinci, also, and also Michelangelo. Okay, so those were also the people who stayed here at one point in their lives. Some of them spent more, some of them spent less time here. Some of them are buried here in the Santa Croce Church. Santa Croce Church, we also gonna see the Franciscan Church, very beautiful. It's also one of the highlights, I would say, of Florentian architecture. Okay, so these are the things, main things that I mentioned now, and of course we're gonna see the main square, Piazza Signoria, the square of politics, the square of the people, where they used to hold the market and sell stuff. And now today it's mostly just covered with tourists, a couple of shops here and there, and also some nice cafes. Okay, so this is more or less what we're going to see in Florence. So once we reach along the river, we have a walk all the way to the Ponte Vecchio. It normally takes about 10 minutes depending on how we can manage, and then from then on we're going to step inside the heart of the medieval era Florence. So inside the historical town, mostly it's only pedestrians walking. So, but in some streets, guys, there are cars coming, but mostly electric. So you do not hear them coming. So you always have to watch your back. Yeah, because there is electric cars allowed, and mostly it's locals, citizens who live in the area. Okay, but so you always have to watch out for that. Mostly people use bikes, motorbikes. Also very important, guys, very important before you fall asleep, yeah, is sometimes you have people on the moped, small bike, snatching bags. Many times I've seen it happen. So to avoid getting bag snatched, always keep body check. Okay, so you always, if you have a, especially for ladies, right, because it's easy to grab from your arm. Yeah, so have it across your chest, so it's harder to pull up. Okay, so it's, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but this is something that can happen to anyone. Okay, so you're already aware of this situation, so you will not be robbed. Okay, yeah, so these are the main things now. About 30 minutes to reach the area of Florence. Okay, so soon we'll get there.